and then when it came therefore to recruiting people into this scenario, they ended up looking at people who had already had a career in a conventional organization found it very difficult, because what you have in a conventional organization is people specialize. Whereas the whole problem here is that if you're running your own whole business, one individual there is one day dealing, doing selling to customers, the next day negotiating with suppliers, the next day designing a product, the next day filling in their accounts, doing their administration, everything a small business person does. And for people who worked in corporate environments, that's just alien, because they've specialized in something and they rely on the legal department to worry about something, or the HR department or something. None of that exists. They managed, and it's, as you see the story during the book, to get rid of all those overheads simply by creating an internal market and saying, fine, what's the value of the accounts department? The accounts department say, fine, we'll charge you £10 per invoice, because that's what it costs us to cut an invoice. And the employee says, well, I could write an invoice out for less than that myself. Now, if I need professional accountancy advice on some, because I'm not an accountant, I'll go buy that when I need it. But I'm not going to pay for the overhead of having an accounts department all the time when I don't need it. So it's just in time internal services, as and when you need it, is a much more cost effective model. So that's the way it works. And the power is in the hands of the generalist employee to choose when they need specialist advice, as opposed to having a tax on the employee because you already have overhead departments you've kind of got to pay for some way. So that's the kind of change in model, and that says the value that because the employee owns that, that's kind of the value per employee, if you want to look at it that way, and therefore you can very easily look at, it's a smaller number of employees and a larger turnover for the whole company, because you haven't got all these unproductive employees who are overheads, and you buy in the overhead service when you need. That's the kind of model.